So let's get started here. We have a submission from Yvette. So I'm using Lightroom, as you can see, and you should be familiar with it. So first of all, visualization is the very first thing you want to do no matter what. I'm going to look at this. It's not my photograph, so I don't know exactly what Yvette here had visualized. What I see, I do see this as a black and white because there's color in the sky, but that's it. The rest of it is really not. There's no color there, so I don't see any reason in maintaining it as a color image. First thing I'm going to do, I always just start up here at the top, look at the histogram. Histogram looks fine. There's no issue with it. I always, well, let's go into the develop module. I almost always pull the highlights down though. Almost always, just a little bit. And remember that when you're processing, small adjustments are often all you need. I'm going to bring up the shadows a little bit, but again, I don't want too much. I'm going to strengthen the blacks. I'm going to do that. I can do that in Silver Effects Pro, but I'm just going to do it here first. So I hit the Option key and I'm sliding it over until I see that we are peaking there. And we're starting to, you can see right there that we're losing to the blacks. So we don't want to do that. So I'm just going to keep it about there. Same thing on the whites. Push down the Option key, slide over to the right. You can see what's starting to clip right there. We don't want to do that. Okay. Not much more that I need to do here. This over here, I hope you guys can see that, right? Let me just check on our
being able to see. We see the image.
Yeah, you can see you cannot see my cursor though, can you?
No, I can see the cursor.
Oh, you see?
We've been able to see it. Yeah.
Okay, good. This kind of branch over here, what it does is just pulls my attention.
Well, wait, maybe I'm not seeing it.
Yeah.
I thought I was seeing it earlier, but yeah.
I don't think you are. But the little branch over on the left, bottom left, is pulling my attention. I don't really want that to happen. I want my attention to go to the main tree here, which is actually really cool, and it's got a lot of, sort of dignity just sort of standing up against the clouds. But this little branch on the left, I want to get rid of. So, I could go and use my spot tool and get rid of it, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to probably just do a little cropping. Let's just see what this looks like. I'm going to crop it. Okay, so what is this doing? Also, this grid is set for not the rule of thirds, although it isn't even a rule. This is set for the golden mean, which is what I actually end up using. So what it's doing is it's putting everything in the tree kind of within this frame here, which actually helps too. So I'm just going to crop it right there. Now I've gotten rid of this little distracting element over there. All right. So I want to make it a black and white. So I'm going to just go to Edit In and Silver Effects Pro, our friend right there. Yes, I want to do it with Lightroom adjustments. And, it's thinking, it's opening, and it's doing its little magic dance there, which is pretty cool. Okay, so what we've got here, let me make my screen a little smaller there so you can see everything. Okay, so first of all, this is opening in a neutral, which means it's just turned it into a black and white, but nothing very special about it. So I'm gonna flick through my favorites. So when I click on my favorites, these are the ones that I use all the time. And let's just click through it and see. That's high contrast. I don't think that's a good look. Just look at each one and see what you think. That could work. It's kind of on the low contrast side. Might work. Full dynamic range, I'm thinking, wow, look at that. Isn't that cool with the cloud structure? It's interesting. I tend to go with this a lot. The last images you saw me process, I was using them. Wet rocks. This is called Marc Silber. Nope, right there, full dynamic range. That's the one I'm going to start with. This is a starting point. So now that I've selected my preset, I'm going to just close that. So I have more real estate there. The less other things that are going on, the better. Now, if you remember, we've got up here the zone system, which I really love. Zone 0 is pure black. There isn't anything in the pure black range, and zone 10 is pure white. We do have stuff in between, but we don't have those two ends, which I always try to hit because that gives you a full dynamic range. So one of the things I know from looking at this is I'm going to want to expand the blacks and I want to expand the whites. But, and you can see down here, these are tools to do that on a global basis. But let's do this. I love the filters. I'm going to try the red filter. That's pretty impressive. Red will bring out the darkness in the sky. You can flick through the other ones and test them out. Yellow doesn't really do much for me. Orange, green, blue. Definitely don't want blue. I'm going to go with red. What do you guys think? It's bringing a lot of dramatic background in the clouds. And I think we're onto something here. You should, anytime you want, just go ahead and do a comparison. There's a side-by-side cut in the middle. And here's already you can see a pretty major change in this image, right? Okay. What else do I want to do? I hope you guys don't think I have a set formula that every image I'm going to process this way. It just so happens the ones you've seen me, I am processing along these same lines. I'm going to check the film types. I like to look at film because I'm a film photographer at heart. And the one that I shot with the most was Panatomic X. So if we go out of it, this is the comparison. It does bring out more blacks. It's giving it more punch. I'm not going to bother. You can scroll through all these other ones and see what you think, but I'm just going to go with that Panatomic X. And I think that really helps. Now, looking at this image, it's a bit dark, isn't it? So I want to fix that. What I'm going to use is this dynamic brightness slider. I really like this in Silver Effects Pro. It isn't present in Lightroom or Photoshop. So what it does is it leaves the two ends unchanged. So it's not really changing the blacks and it's not really changing the whites, but it's changing what's going on in between. That was too much. Like most things, little adjustments are usually what you want. That looks about right to me. I'm just going to go back and check our histogram zone system here. Now we definitely brought the blacks up. I'm still not seeing zone 0. It's okay. We might not hit it. We are hitting a bit of zone 9, but I don't see zone 10. I'm not going to worry too much about that. All right, so what do we got? We've got this dramatic sort of look with the branches against the sky. When she shot this, she did angle up a little bit, which is good, and that helps us see the sky behind it. There's some things you could do. I'm not sure how much I want to play with this soft contrast. I don't think I want to do anything with it. I'm going to leave it as it is. There's no real texture that I want to enhance, so I'm not going to change any of the structure here. I'm pretty happy with that. I feel like that's a good representation. Now let's see, toning. I do like to use selenium. You can see what it's like without it, and there it is. These are the various different tones you can give it. I don't use sepia ever. It's just not a look I'm interested in. This adds a bit of blue to it. I think that's kind of helps. And then now let's look at the edge burning. That would be my final tool here. So this is edge, all edges 1. That did a pretty good job. So what is edge burning? It's just burning these, it's darkening the corners and the sides. Why do we do that? Because we want to keep the viewer's eye within the frame. And that's basically designed to make the edges darker so that your eye does not pop out of the frame. So we've got choices, edge burning 2, that's too dark. Look how much darker that is. All edges soft 1, that could probably work. I'm going to probably just go back to 1. All edges soft 2, way too dark. So I'm just going to go back to this one here, all edges 1. And let's do a comparison where we started and where we are now. Big difference, right? What do you guys think? So if this was our original photo, I wouldn't think much about it, but as an end result here, I think we've got something. I'll send this to you, Yvette. You can keep it or not as you choose. So there's where we ended up. There's the side by side. You can see how much more dramatic our clouds are. And there's the top and bottom. Okay, there you go. So any comments or questions, I'm available in the chat. So I'm going to go ahead and just hit apply, and that will bring it back to Lightroom. It sometimes takes a little time before it shows up there. There it is. Okay, so we can do our side-by-side comparison in Lightroom. And here we go. So what do you guys think? This one,
It's really different. Yeah.
They're very different, isn't it? Very, very different photograph. We've really brought out the depth of the clouds, and I think that adds a lot of interest to it. And we don't have, if we go back to this one here, let me just get out of there. And anytime you want to see the changes you've made in your Lightroom, you just hit the / key. Whoops, you got to be in the wrong module, in the right module. So let's go back to develop. If you don't hit it when you're in the develop module, you get that going on. So there's, there's some of the stuff that I ended up doing initially, not very important, but there it is. And there you go. That was my suggestion with Yvette, and there's your finished image. Please subscribe and enable the bell so you don't miss any of our new shows. Like the video and please share it and leave your comments. I love hearing from you. And remember to get out and capture your own images of life.